Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Okay, happy Monday to you. This is Real Talk Live with Coach Barbara. How are you all doing? I hope you had a good Mother's Day weekend. I certainly did. It was absolutely amazing. Let's get this set up here. I think I'm going to get a little more light. Okay. I came in a little bit early, about 5 minutes early, because I wanted to make sure we were going to rock and roll right on time today. Hey, Joanna, happy Monday to you. Linda, how you doing? Linda, give me a thumbs up if the view is good for you. Hi, Robin. Stranger, but not stranger. I love that we can connect on these devices, right? Joanna, how are you, my love? I like all the work you're doing at This Is Girl Power. Y'all are doing the doggone thing. Love it. Hey, Corley, my sister from the Bahamas. Love you guys. We're going to let folks get in. We're going to have a great conversation today. What I really love about all of this is I'm doing my work at the same time. Hi, Charlene. I'm doing my work at the same time because a lot of what we've been talking about now for 6 weeks is stuff that I've gone back to or I'm beginning with you. Like today's topic, building a legacy, I'm just starting it in a formalized way. Hi, Monique. You know, you do a lot of things and you don't formalize it. But this shut-in time, this quiet time that God has given us to relax and settle ourselves down, get creative. You know, the download for me just happens. Every morning I wake up with something new, thank you, God, right? Every morning there's something new. And when we're so busy running, we don't always pay attention to the something new. These wonderful whispers that God gives us. You know, when we're running so fast, sometimes we don't slow down long enough. Nanaji, hey darling, how are you? We don't slow down long enough to really get what God is trying to give us. And so, you know, as a coach, and many of you know that I've been coaching for 20 years, and I absolutely love what I do. The fact that you can do something that folks will call work and you love it and it gives you joy when you see somebody else, you know, succeed and do their thing, that gives me life. And so being a coach, a life coach, has been good for me as well as I trust good for those who I have worked with, from community folks to young women in college to public figures, and the list goes on. But it's just been my joy over these 20 years. So listen, we're going to talk tonight about just 30 minutes or so about building a legacy. What is that? Have you ever been to like a grandmother or an older aunt's home or someone's home and you start to see photographs of maybe family members? You know they must be related because you see people in the picture that you might know, but you don't know the story. And you wonder, wow, I wonder who that is, or what did they do? Or you see photos and someone say, oh, that was your great grand uncle or your great grand aunt. Oh yeah, he was a big shot back in the day. He did so and so back in the day. but you really don't know the fullness of the story of the person. Well, I've had those moments because I love visiting our, older family members. And I like to see what they have on their walls. I love art, so I'm always looking at what's on someone's wall. What did you feel was worthy of hanging on your wall? Hi, Erica. And so when you go into these homes and you see all of that, rarely do we get the fullness of the story, like who the person really was. Legacy building is when you know that you have a story, because we all have a story. You know that you have a story, and there's something about your story you want to leave behind. Something that says, Opal was here. Joanna was here. My auntie Joanna, this is what she did. Or this is how she changed the world, at least for our family. That's what your legacy is. Who tells your story? We have a choice. We can tell our own story, or we could simply just allow folks to tell the story that they want to tell about us. Hi, Juanita. Hi, Gloria. I think it will be so awesome if we begin to tell our own stories as a part of our legacy. Someone said once before, I heard, the dash between the day you were born and the day you die. What are people going to say about that time in between? Is it going to be 2 paragraphs of your wonderful full life? Or is it going to be something significant that you intentionally laid out so that it could be shared? That's a part of your legacy. Your story is a significant part of your legacy. Often people think legacy is really just about resources that you leave for family members. That's important too. Native Americans really get this right. There's a tribe. It's called the Ho-Chunk tribe, and they have a law that's called the 18 Money Law. And this tribe is very well known for their gaming, and they have lots of casinos that are successful. And when the young people on that reservation, members of that tribe, when they graduate from high school, upon graduation, they get $200,000. Yes. Kevin, how you doing? $200,000 for every graduate who is a member of that tribe. That's a legacy. I think when it started, I read somewhere, when it started as they were building the casinos. When the casinos were successful, they wanted to make sure that they shared the benefits with the entire community. So they began to give the young people, when they graduated, $17,000. It has been so profitable that they now give them $200,000. So I started thinking about, what is it that we want to do? How do you build your own legacy? You start by making a decision, first of all. And the decision is, I was here on planet Earth. I had this wonderful human experience. I learned a few things. I achieved a few things. And I want to share the who I am with those generations to come. That's legacy building. That's how it starts. Very similar to what we see in our history books, but we all have a story. So what is your story? What is going to matter to your family 7 generations deep? What are they going to say about you? How are they going to feel about your contribution to the family? Have you ever thought about that? And it's not just money. It's your footprint, your heart print. What will they say? How do you even begin? As I said, you don't have to have a whole lot of money to do this. It could be simply a way that you start within your close-knit family. You can break that cycle of, I don't remember what they did. I don't remember how significant. I don't remember what their contributions were. You can make that different in your way. Just like the Native Americans who look after their children. So here's some things you have to do if you want to do that. You got to start by saying, what do I want folks to remember about me? What did I do that's significant? So you may want to do it. So I'm 62. I'm proud of it. You could say, well, maybe I'll gather everything that I've done for every year of my life. Now that's kind of a lot because you could write a book. That's part of legacy too. You can tell your life story. Or you can say, each year of my life could be a chapter in my legacy book. Or you might decide to do it in groups of 10 years at a time. That's kind of the direction I'm going in. For every decade of my life, what did I do? What could I point back to that has some meaning that I think is worthy of passing on? So that's one way of looking at it. You can do it by significant events in your life. Maybe you were the first person. I was the very first 4-year college grad in our family. I didn't know that at the time, but I was. I was the first college grad, 4-year college grad that went on to get an advanced degree and in our family. So I want that to continue in the family, right? So that's something big. You say, okay, I'll write that down as a significant event in my life. I would love for our family members to know that it is possible to be in a lifelong relationship, in a marriage. 35 years we're going on right now. My sister, 40 years, right? So we want to be able to tell that story because my grandmother was a single mom. Her mother was a single mom. And then we broke that cycle. That's something we want to share. So legacy is about the thing that you want to share and leave in the family. So here's what I wrote about myself. I want to leave a body of work that demonstrates my commitment to making life better for the next generation. What did I do to make life better for the next generation? Hi, Dawn. Hi, Simone. I want to leave behind an enthusiasm for art and music. I'd love for my great-grandchildren to know this is what Umi Barbara liked. She loved music. She loved art. And my entire house is full of art. So they'll know that. What do you have? What do you want to leave behind? They say a picture represents 1,000 words. What is the picture that you're drawing for your family? What is significant? Another thing you can do when you're legacy building, you don't have to wait until you're gone and write it down in the will. You know, our very first session, we talked about planning and wills and things like that. But beginning your legacy doesn't mean you have to wait until you're gone. Legacy, listen, and I read this somewhere, legacy is, let's look at it this way, the book that you're going to write, but you might not get to read all of it. But you can read some if you start now. So what are some of the things you can do to begin your own legacy? When I was thinking about this morning, I called one of my brothers. I had gifted him something that I purchased when I got my first American Express card. I purchased an item, and I won't say what it is because I don't want all the family to know that he has this item. That's for him to say. But I purchased something when I got that first card. I was 21 years old, and it was my first major purchase in this category. And I gifted it to one of my brothers. And I called him this morning because when I thought about it, I said, do you still have this thing that I gifted you? And he said, yes. And I said, have you thought about who you might leave that to? He has a son and a daughter. I said, your son? And he said, I don't know. Anyway, we had this back and forth conversation about that. But what do you have right now that you can pass on to a family member that you know they'll appreciate the value of it, the emotional value, the sentimental value, and then you tell them the story? That's a part of the legacy. My sister's watching. I'm always trying to sneak stuff out of her house because she has lots of things that's been left and passed on. But what do you have that you can pass on to your daughter or your son? And you can say, here's the story that goes with that. Or my nieces and nephews, I cherish. And I make it a point to try and give them a part of the story, at least from my perspective. Because again, this is the legacy that I'm building. So what are you sharing with your family members that is significant that you could leave as a beginning? And you don't have to wait until you pass on. I was thinking, I have also in my closet, I have the dress that Stan and that I wore when we got married. It's not a wedding dress. It's just a real cute dress. And I'm going to gift that to Kelsey. I don't know what she will do with it, but I'm holding it. I don't want it to go out in the yard sale, right? It's something really special, and there's a whole story behind it. So think about it. Put some things in the comments. What do you have that you think right now you can pass on to someone else that will be the beginning of your legacy? If you've ever visited my home, you know I have lots of different things from older family members. Me and my husband, we love it. I have a rocking chair that's over 150 years old that came from the great-grandmother of my husband's oldest aunt. She passed that rocking chair on to me. And I'm thinking about writing a little children's book around this rocking chair. It was Uncle Warren's grandmother's rocking chair. I'm thinking about that. Simone, I see your mother's ring, a ring that your mom gave you. Yeah. That would be a special gift to one of your daughters, perhaps. Juanita said her pound cake recipe. Yes, it is the best pound cake. And the recipe, you know how when someone passes on, we had an aunt who passed on, she made the best yams in the world, but she never gave anybody her recipe. So everybody's still guessing at it, trying to make it happen. Juanita, your pound cake recipe is it. Carmen says, an angel picture passed down 6 generations. That's what I'm talking about. What's the story behind that, though? What else? Those 6 generations, what else was there? How do you keep that story alive? So important. Our legacy is not just about the money we can leave to someone. It's also about these things that really matter. My great-grandmother's wedding ring. My mother passed it on. Yes, I think about that. A wedding ring, a special gift. My mother's book of handwritten prayers. Oh my God, yes. To have that would be a special thing. What's the story behind it? Right? What is the story? What do you add to that to make sure that it gets passed on and kept alive? How precious is that? And then as you begin when you start to think about building this legacy, you have to think about, where do you keep these things? You can't just keep them in a drawer, right? I mean, you can, but I think it's safe if you really plan where you're going to keep these things and how you're going to preserve them. It might be a safe in your home, right? Oh, Simone said her grandmother's Bible. I have my mother's Bible. I have Stan's aunt's Bible. I think I have 3. I gave Kelsey one, my mother-in-law's Bible she has. Yes, with markings written in it, right? It's a wonderful thing. But where do you keep things like that? I have a gallery in my home, so I have a few things out, but then I start to get nervous about just leaving them out. And so you may want to put them away, decide, be intentional about building your legacy. Be intentional about it. Start to organize it, put things together, just like the Native Americans who are thinking 7 generations deep. Let's talk a little bit before I'll start taking some questions. Let's talk a little bit about how you start to build it deep into the generations. So when I looked at the Native Americans and how they give their young people upon graduation $200,000. $200,000. I thought, okay, well, we don't have that. But what I'd like to do, Stan and I, we haven't discussed it yet. Joanna said her grandmother's church hats. Oh, that's a good one. There was a play called If These Hats Can Talk. Dr. Height was in that play, and it was about all the wonderful hats she had. Quotes from your grandmother. Yes, yes. All of that is a part of the legacy. And you want to gather those things together. You want to put them together. Be intentional about how you set that up. So I was thinking this morning about the Native Americans and how they take care of the generations. And I really wanted to say, okay, if what is it that we could start that would continue way beyond us, 7 generations deep? And so my thinking is, and haven't done it yet, as I said when we opened, this is me, teaching myself and coaching myself through some of this as well. So what I'd like to start for me and Stanley is that every one of our nieces and nephews, grandnieces and nephews, everyone that graduates from high school, we will give $1,000. And I'd like to start that this year. Every one of our family members, those young ones coming in now that would graduate from high school, we would give $1,000. And then I thought, those who are graduating from college, we would give $5,000. That would be a part of our legacy. And then we would encourage other family members, not that we just have a lot of money to give and give and give, but we would encourage family members to contribute to that legacy fund, just like the Native Americans. Every graduate in the family from high school gets $1,000. Every graduate from college will get $5,000. And maybe I should say 4-year college. Those who would graduate from a 2-year college, maybe we give them half of that, $2,500. That's incentive. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Robin. That's incentive. What do you think you guys will do? But this is something I want to implement this year. I don't want to wait. This year. So if you're watching, you're in the family, Love Legacy Fund. Yes, that's the name of it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Carmen, for helping me with the name, because I just decided that today. It's the Perkins Love Legacy Fund. Oh my. Angela writes children's books as a part of her legacy. Great idea. So, I mean, we can start. This is how we have to root our family members. This is how we have to root them, because too often, this is where I started. We go to an older family member's home, or someone passes and they're cleaning out the house, and you're finding all of these treasures that no one knew about. And you're finding all of these things. And so, why not be intentional about putting some of this together and making it a part of your legacy? I hope this was helpful. There was 2 other things I want to say before we close. Photos. And I was talking about when you go into families' homes, you see these photos, you don't know who's in them. Start to label them. Put the date, put your name in back of it. Start to label them so that folks will know who the folks are. Our grandmother lived a wonderful life to 100. And we found photos, and there's a couple we're not sure about. I'm usually the one in the family who's always asking the questions, right? Who's that? What do they do? Right? And then when we don't have the answers, we make stuff up. So how about not waiting for someone to make up your story? How about you make up your own story? How about you tell your own story? And that story becomes a part of your legacy, so that your contribution to the family is noted, well received. You begin to give those gifts with love now. When I realized after the big Northridge earthquake in California that I had 6 full sets of china, that didn't make any sense. So I started gifting things away. Gifting so that my sister-in-laws, my nieces, my nephews would have something, some part of me with my story. I certainly hope that you are willing to begin your story and begin to write your legacy. And as time goes on, I will tell you more about the Perkins Love Legacy Fund, which we just started today. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Now, what I'd like to do, and for those of you who this is your first time, this is our 6th Monday night here. We've been here 6 sessions now. And I love to give a little gift. So if this is your first time joining us, I have something for you. I have 2 of the books that I've written. The most recent one is this book called Restoration, 7 Promises of God. And it is a victory story, and it's not just about me. This is something that I think you would enjoy reading and sharing. So if this is your first time, would you write in the comments, "This is my first time here"? And for those of you who've received your gift, write in there, "Gift received," so I know you got the mail, because I only go to the post office on Wednesdays now. So put in the comments, "This is your first time and you have a gift." I have a second gift that I want to offer. And I have a series of books. It's called 7 Little Books on coaching yourself. And this one is coaching yourself on marriage. So if this is your first time as well, you will get one of these books. You can even say if you want one particular one, but it's a gift for you. Thank you for listening. I am so glad that we had our time together Monday evening. This is Real Talk with Love. I'm Coach Barbara, and I'll see you next Monday at 7 o'clock. Okay? Thanks again. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye. And do me a favor. Please share the video. Thank you.